"Uncle, I know how to make your daughter walk again," said the black beggar boy to the millionaire. Gregory Vale had walked past that alley 100 times, but never like this, never with a pair of tiny wheels creaking alongside his polished shoes, never with silence so thick it could suffocate him. His 8-year-old daughter Naomi sat quietly in her wheelchair, her legs still and wrapped in a knitted blue blanket. Her blonde hair fell over her cheeks, eyes lowered to the pavement as though she had given up waiting for miracles. Gregory hadn't, not really, but hope had become a cruel word in his world. Since the accident 2 years ago, every doctor, therapist, and miracle worker had taken his money and left him with the same answer: a permanent spinal damage. "They may live a long life," they'd say gently, "but she'll never walk again." His money could move mountains but not nerves. That's when he heard the voice. "Uncle," the boy said from the alley corner, "I know how to make your daughter walk again." Gregory stopped, one hand still on Naomi's wheelchair handle. He turned slowly, expecting to see a scam artist or worse. But what he saw instead was a barefoot child. The boy couldn't have been older than Naomi. He was dark-skinned, skinny, barefoot, and bundled in an oversized coat. His hands were caked in dirt and one eye looked slightly bruised, but his voice was steady. "What did you say?" Gregory asked. "I said I can help your daughter," the boy repeated. Gregory frowned. "Is this some kind of game? Who put you up to this?" "No one," the boy said. "My name's Eli. I live behind the train station. I saw you pushing her here yesterday. I waited here today because I knew you'd come." Gregory squinted. "You've been watching us?" "Yes, but not in a creepy way. I see lots of people walk by," but she looked sad, like she used to run but her legs forgot. Naomi's head turned slightly. That was more than anyone had said about her since last week. "I've taken her to the best hospitals in the world," Gregory said firmly. "Neurologists, surgeons, even holistic charlatans who claim to move energy with their fingers. There's nothing you can do." "But you haven't taken her to my grandmother," Eli said. "She helped me when no one else would." "You 8. I'm 9 next month," Eli said. Gregory almost laughed. Eli stepped closer. "She doesn't take money, only trust. And she never asks anyone to believe, only to try." Naomi looked up at her father. "Please, can we go?" Gregory hesitated. The words "no" and "absolutely not" spun in his head. But so did Naomi's voice, the way it had cracked weeks ago when she whispered, "I hate being this way." He knelt next to her. "If anything feels wrong, we leave. Got it?" She nodded. Eli smiled, turned, and walked. They followed. The path behind the city was unfamiliar, tangles of weeds, rusted fences, graffiti on broken brick walls. Naomi winced every time her wheelchair bumped. Gregory almost turned back twice, but Eli kept glancing over his shoulder, reassuring with a calm beyond his years. They reached the edge of a wooded trail. It didn't look like it led anywhere. "Through here," Eli said. Gregory sighed. "You do know that if anything happens to my daughter, she'll be fine," Eli said. "She'll be more than fine." At the end of the trail stood a small cabin built from worn timber and moss. It looked like it belonged in a fairy tale. An old woman stepped onto the porch. Her hair was long and silver, braided with tiny pieces of bark and thread. Her eyes were green, striking, and ageless. "I was wondering when you'd bring them," she said to Eli. Eli nodded. He didn't believe, but she did. Naomi smiled faintly. The woman knelt before her. "Child, may I touch your knees?" Naomi looked at her father, who hesitated, then nodded. The woman placed her hands gently over Naomi's legs. Her eyes fluttered closed and she began to hum, a sound soft and low, like wind through trees. Naomi flinched. "I felt that," she whispered. Gregory stepped forward. Felt what? A tingle in my toes. The woman opened her eyes. Her spine is not dead, just frozen, locked in grief. The body obeys the heart more than the brain. That's not medical science, Gregory muttered. No, the woman said. But science doesn't hold your daughter's tears every night. Silence. Eli stepped forward. Can she try standing? The woman looked at Naomi. Only if she wants to. Naomi nodded. The woman moved the wheelchair back and helped her to her feet. Naomi's legs trembled. Gregory stepped forward in panic, but the woman held up a hand. Naomi's right foot moved, then her left. She stood, wobbly like a deer, but she stood. Gregory fell to his knees. Naomi. Naomi turned to him, smiling through tears. Daddy, I'm standing. Gregory couldn't breathe. He crawled to her feet and held her tightly, afraid she'd fall, or worse, vanish. Eli stood back, quiet. Gregory turned to him, stunned. Who are you? Eli shrugged. Just a boy who believed someone could be whole again. Gregory reached into his pocket. I'll pay you anything. Name your price. Eli shook his head. I don't need money. I just needed someone to listen. As the sun peeked through the clouds, Naomi walked 3 steps toward her father and the world she thought she had lost. Naomi took one more shaky step forward. Gregory watched, stunned, his hands half raised in the air, unsure whether to catch her or let her walk. She was trembling, yes, and tears spilled freely down her cheeks, but there was no mistaking the fact she was walking. She took a second step, then a third, then fell. Gregory lunged, catching her gently before she hit the ground. I've got you, he whispered, his voice cracking. I've got you. Naomi clung to him, sobbing. I felt my legs, Daddy. I really felt them. You did, sweetheart, he said. You did. The old woman stood silently behind them, her hands folded in front of her like she had seen this before many times. There was no showmanship, no applause, just peace. Eli crouched nearby, not smiling, not celebrating, just watching. Gregory turned to him again, this time kneeling down to his level. I need to know, he said. How did you know? How did you do that? Eli looked down at the dirt. I didn't. I just remembered. Remembered what? My grandma. She wasn't a doctor, but she knew people. The way they breathe, how they break. She said, not all pain is in bones. Some of it lives in silence. Some of it hides where X-rays can't see. Gregory stared, moved beyond words. Eli shifted. I used to walk funny. My foot was bent since birth. Kids laughed. My mom left when I was 4. Grandma was all I had. One day she just said it was time. She placed her hand on my foot, whispered things in a language I don't know, and told me to stand. I did. I never fell again. Naomi blinked at him. She healed you? She reminded me I wasn't broken, Eli replied. Gregory nodded slowly. Where is she now? Eli's eyes fell. Gone a year ago. I tried to go into the system, but I ran. They said she was a fraud. That I was making it all up. So I started helping people myself. Only the ones who asked, the ones who really believed. He wiped his nose with his sleeve. Sometimes I fail, but sometimes I don't. Gregory stood and faced the old woman. Who are you? She smiled. Just someone who listens. Eli does the rest. But this is something else. Number. This is the part of humanity most people forgot. That healing doesn't always need pills or wires or surgeries. It sometimes just needs presence. Gregory looked at Naomi. She was now on her feet again, holding the back of the wheelchair, testing her balance. Her fingers trembled, but her eyes were lit with something fierce. Hope. I want to take you with us, Gregory said to Eli. We have doctors, specialists, therapists. I can set you up, give you a future. But Eli shook his head gently. My place is here, on the street, in the forgotten corners. That's where the hurt lives. That's where people like me are needed. Gregory hesitated. What if I want to help you? You already did. You listened. Most don't. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a card. It was creased and damp from rain, but legible. If you ever need me, Gregory said, for anything, food, shelter, education, you call this number. My assistant will answer, day or night. Eli took the card, studied it for a moment, then carefully folded it and tucked it into the inside lining of his coat. Naomi turned to him. Will I see you again? Eli smiled. If you ever forget how to believe, I'll probably be nearby. She grinned, limped forward, and wrapped her arms around him. It was the first time anyone had hugged him in over a year. He closed his eyes and hugged her back. A week later, Naomi stood in front of her school, a crowd of students watching in awe as she walked across the stage. Still slow, still with care, but on her own. No wheelchair, no braces. The reporters asked, what was the turning point? Naomi simply smiled and said, a boy who believed I could. That same morning, in an alley 3 districts away, Eli sat with a new girl who had lost her voice after drama. He didn't ask for her story. He didn't offer her food. He simply sat beside her and hummed the same tune his grandmother once sang, because healing doesn't always start with medicine. Sometimes it begins with someone who refuses to walk away. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments where in the world you are watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.